The Wuthering Waves 2.8 story quest. What did I think of it? Was it good? Was it bad? What was this quest? How would I rate this quest? Well, my fellow flames, I would say this quest was mediocre, average, nothing special. There were good elements and good moments of this story, but overall, I wouldn't call it anything special. In fact, I would say it's average at best, but overall, I was disappointed. And I'm going to be discussing the reasons why I was disappointed, but I'm also going to be discussing what I liked and disliked about this story. If you enjoy this video, leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe if you are new. Without further ado, let's get into this. So, the Wuthering Waves 2.8 story quest starts off actually very strong. You start off within the Black Shores, a rift opens thanks to Wuthering connecting to this mysterious frequency. Because a mysterious frequency comes out of nowhere, Wuthering taps into that frequency using her resonance ability, and a portal opens to Hanami City. This city that resides within this sonorosphere. The city that was destroyed by a lament many years prior. We get sucked into the city of Hanami City, which is where we meet Chisa a little bit later. It starts off chaotic. It starts off in the lament. We actually get sucked into the lament, and it's chaotic. There are tacit discords everywhere. There's a really cool cutscene. It starts off really well. And I really enjoyed this first part of the story. It really got me engaged, and it made me think this story is actually going to be a very good prelude to 3.0, to Lahai Roy. It's going to be engaging. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. Boy, oh boy, was I wrong. Overall, this story was boring. This story didn't deliver what I thought it was going to deliver, but it had good moments. The action when the action occurred was engaging. The story about Chisa herself was very mysterious and very interesting. When we find out a lot about her backstory, I connect with this character, and I resonate, no pun intended, with this character quite well. Because there is a moment where we actually tap into Chisa's past. And when we do, I really do feel for this character. You really do connect with Chisa as a character, what she went through as a child growing up. And I really wanted to know more about Chisa, and I'm glad when we did find out more about Chisa, it's what we got. We learned more about her resonance ability, why she has that shock collar looking thing on her around her neck, and we also find out more just about where Chisa's from and where we're going to be going and how she connects to Lahai Roy, the next region going on in Wuthering Waves, the next place we're going to be visiting. However, as much as I liked that aspect of the story, as much as I liked the action, as much as I liked Chisa's backstory, do you know how much of the story that was? Now, the story was about 3.5, touching 4 hours long. An hour, maybe just over, of the story was action. I'd say no more than an hour and 20 minutes was action, and that's also including Chisa's backstory as well. An hour and 20 minutes off of a 3.5 to 4 hour story. The rest of it was talking. The rest of it was spent in the coffee shop, which is one of the main locations that we spend our time in, and it was just talking. It was just yap. It was yap. Pointless conversation. Also, the voice acting in this had good moments, but overall wasn't that strong. The way they pronounced their wording, the way they spoke in these sentences, it felt slow, it felt sluggish, it felt a little bit lackluster at best, but it did have good moments. Whoever was voicing Chisa, I thought her voice style and her vocal range was very good, and I thought her tone and the type of voice that voice actor has was very well for Chisa. It suited Chisa. However, I think the voice direction, whoever directed the voice actors through this patch, I'm sorry, it wasn't the best. It really wasn't the best. I've heard Wuthering's voice in 2.6 and 2.7. I've heard Rover's voice almost the entire time playing Wuthering Waves. I've heard Shorekeeper's voice. I've heard a lot of these characters that we see, I've heard before, and they've been good before. Chisa, like I said, in these cutscenes, in the proper animated cutscenes, was fun, was engaging, was good. But overall, just playing through the story, it just dropped. It was lackluster at best, and it wasn't consistent. There were moments where I did see some good voice acting, but overall, it just wasn't consistent enough. And quite frankly, it was a little bit underwhelming. But that's not the voice actor's fault, because as we know in the past, the voice actors can voice act, but the voice direction that they've been given in the past is what let down a few moments in Wuthering Waves 1.x specifically. 1.0, the launching patch specifically. Hanami City, what do I think of the map? It's beautiful. As you can see, I'm exploring, I'm running around. It's beautiful. It's vibrant. I love the vibe of this. This is, by the way, guys, the map isn't that big. The map isn't that big. This is the map. This is the map right here. You can't go over here. You can't go over here. You can't go around here unless this is story only. So you will explore this part, this part, this part. But at this present moment in time, it is story only, and the only parts of the area you can explore are these parts. It doesn't take long to explore the entire thing. You could probably explore the entire thing and uncover all of its secrets within 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Now, I have not done the Stranger Things collab quest in Hanami, so maybe we'll be able to unlock more. So I'll definitely be playing that, and that quest actually looked interesting. It had combat mixed in with like a post-story vibe. So maybe I'll play that, maybe I'll do a video on that, and maybe that will add on to what this quest story was lacking. But as a main story quest, it wasn't that good. Part 1 was better than Part 2. It was 2 acts. There was Act 11 and Act 12, I think it was. But there was 2 acts of the story, and it was a main story quest. It wasn't a character story. It wasn't a prelude quest. It wasn't a sub quest. It was a main story quest, and it was very underwhelming. This was very filler. They took a lot of inspiration from slice of life aspects, which I don't hate the idea of. Having a slice of life aspect and a slice of life concept to implement into your game as a story, as like a filler or a prelude or like a little comfortable quest before the next main story quest, which is going to be 3.0, which is when we're going to be going to see Lahai Roy. That's not a bad idea. The execution of what they've done here was lacking, severely lacking. So as I was saying a little bit earlier on, out of the 3.5 to 4 hour quest, about an hour to an hour and 20 minutes was action and engaging and actually good. Part 2, so the second act of this patch, was terrible. It was boring. It was gathering wives. It was literally the Riz Rover. It was Riz Rover. Rover the Riz Lord returned because it was basically a party. It was basically a party which was going, the grand opening of the coffee shop, which is what you can see in front of me. This coffee shop was basically the base of operations where you'd always end up whenever you went out and came back. And it was basically, this is now a grand opening. You're actually able to go here. People are actually able to go here after you complete the story, because we stabilized the Lament. This place is actually able to be explored by all through Huanglong, the Black Shores. They can come in and out as they please, go to the coffee shop if they want, and enjoy the beverages and the drinks and the food that this place has to offer. The whole second act of this quest line was discovering a little bit about Lahai Roy, which I don't hate, not bad at all. Discovering a little bit about our past, a very little but important part about Rover's past, which is also connecting to where we're going next. But the majority of the second act of this story quest, which is about an hour and 20 minutes long, was all spent in the coffee shop trying to put together a party. A grand opening party. And the only people that attended this party was Rover, Booling, Shorekeeper, Camellia turns up, Chisa, and I think that's it. There was no one else. There was and Abby was there obviously, but there was no one else. And I felt like I was caught in a love triangle / love square. As soon as Shorekeeper turns up, it's awkward because Chisa obviously clearly likes Rover. Shorekeeper turns up. The conversation's very, very awkward from the start. It's awkward I felt awkward playing it. If you watch my actual playthrough of the story quest, I feel awkward. Even the dialogue mentions that it's awkward on purpose. On purpose. It just feels awkward. It feels like it's like, they're looking at us, we're looking at them. They don't really know what to say to each other. It's like, oh my god, okay, whatever. Then Camellia shows up, uninvited by the way, and the reason why she's uninvited is because Shorekeeper deliberately didn't invite her. Because we invited everyone. We told Shorekeeper to invite and bring everyone. Shorekeeper said no one else could make it because they're all on missions. No one else could make it. No one else could come. They told me they couldn't make it. They said they're sorry they couldn't come. Camellia turns up and goes, why wasn't I invited? And Shorekeeper goes, I thought you were meant to be on a mission, right? And then Camellia was like, oh, I got it done early, and I got it done quite efficiently because I found out there's a party going on. But if I was told that I was invited, I would have got it completed earlier. And you know this. And Shorekeeper doesn't say anything. And Shorekeeper and Chisa and Camellia stare at each other down. And it's like everyone's jealous of each other. And that's the vibe I got. That is the vibe I got. Even Rover was sitting there like, oh my god, what's going on? It was so annoying. It was funny, but at the same time I was like, it's funny, but it's not needed. This whole thing is just not needed. It's throwaway. You could have only had, right? I'm not even kidding here. You could have only had the ending of the second act, which is where a portal basically opens up to Lahai Roi. The portal is unstable, hence why we can't go through it. So the Black Shores are stabilizing the portal, so eventually we'll be able to go through it to go to Lahai Roi. You could have had the first act of this story, then everyone go, oh, well done everyone, we all succeeded. Portal opens up. And then that whole sequence happens. You did not need the party. You did not need the tea party. If you wanted it, you could have shortened it and condensed it down by half. The second act could have been half an hour, no more. It was an hour and 20 minutes. It dragged. It was long. A couple of funny moments, but overall, it was whatever. It was Gathering Wives all over again. They dialed it up to 11. It was cringe. I didn't like it. I was bored. Quite frankly, it would have been better, like I said, to cut most of that out. Personally. Now, speaking of characters, Chisa and Rover's relationship, it felt forced. It felt extremely forced. I didn't like it. It felt very quick. It felt very put on, to the point where Chisa keeps calling Rover senpai. I don't like it. We also find out, spoilers by the way, that Rover attended the same college as Chisa. He attended the same college as Chisa 20 years prior. Because it's like a wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey, because the Sonorosphere time moves differently. So to Chisa, she's been in there for about 2 or 3 months, but to the outside world, it's been 20 years, which is when Rover's last life incarnation was a thing. We know this. So Chisa... So everyone in the real world thinks Chisa's dead, but Chisa's actually only been gone for 2 months in her mind, but 20 years in the real world. We find out that Chisa attended the same college as Rover, and they met a couple of times, but the relationship, it wasn't like Shorekeeper, where Shorekeeper and Rover spent a long time together, which is the reason why Shorekeeper was like really obsessed and in love near enough with Rover, and why Rover was so important to Shorekeeper. Because Shorekeeper was also created by a past tense Rover. Chisa and Rover met a couple of times in the college, but never hung out. They weren't really friends, but they knew each other in the school. Like if you went to school or college and you just knew most of the kids, some of the kids you're not friends with, but if you see each other, you're like, oh hi, how are you? It's like small talk acquaintances. They were more acquaintances. But Chisa clearly had a crush on Rover. That's obvious. They make it abundantly clear in this story that she did in the past and she does now. But it feels forced. Everything Rover says to her felt a little bit romanticized to me. Everything Chisa said to Rover felt romanticized, but I didn't feel there was a vibe at all. I did not feel like... I just didn't feel it. It just didn't feel right to me, and it felt put on. It felt forced. It was not good at all, and Rover didn't feel sincere. Chisa didn't feel sincere. it felt very disconnected, and I didn't like their relationship. If they just dealt with it as friends and they were platonic and they were friendly and they were like, we have this, we got this together, blah, 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 blah. We can do this. I don't know. I don't remember my past life, but I remember now. Let's do this. Let's team up, blah, 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 blah. And then we'll figure it out later. A lot of the downtime in this patch between the two of them was about like, okay, will you spend the evening with me, please? Will you share this food with me on this beautiful night? Will you take a walk with me? And then I'm not even joking, Chisa literally calls Rover Senpai so many times, and there is literally dialogue to either go, that's going to take some getting used to, or stop calling me that. Like, literally. I'm not even joking. This is dialogue in the script. Whoever wrote this script is not good. It's not good. This is not good writing. They did not write this well. Like I said, there was good written elements. Like Chisa's past, tragic. I actually felt for Chisa. I actually liked Chisa's backstory. When they describe where she came from, what she went through as a child growing up. I like that. The action of actually, the action sequences of actually pushing back the lament and wiping the lament out and stabilizing the lament, I liked. I thought it was pretty cool. The cutscenes were very cinematic, but as I said, everything good out of this 3.5 to 4 hour quest was about an hour and a half of it. An hour and a half of this 4 hours, I would say I enjoyed and liked. There was moments with Abby that was pretty funny as well. Abby and the new mascot. The brand new mascot, basically Chisa's version of Abby. The capybara. There was banter and there was chemistry between Abby and that character, which I quite liked, but only a little bit. And it was very filler. It didn't... I knew they were going to do filler, but they shouldn't have called it Chapter 2, Act so-and-so and so-and-so. You should have just... realistically, it was a Chisa story quest. It literally was a Chisa story quest. Or just have like a bonus mission, that sequence. Just have a continuation mission. You know what HSR did? Where it was like, oh, HSR continuation mission. Where like what they did with like, remember Topaz's mission? Where it was technically a main story quest, but it wasn't. That was filler. Like when Topaz came to Belobog and you had to go back to Belobog because she was using whatever that police force to basically invade and overrun. That was technically main story. That quest was very good. It wasn't the main story, but it was a filler that felt like main story. This didn't even feel like main story. This felt like absolute filler. Shouldn't have had act so and so and so and so. It should have been called continuation quest, or bridging quest, or Lahairoi prelude, or Chisa story quest. There's a mixture of good and bad that I said there. The False Sovereign returns, which was pretty cool. I do like the False Sovereign. The music, the OST, the Hanami City's OST, I like a lot. Hanami City's OST, I like a lot. The NPCs in this patch, when you talk to the NPCs, there was a couple of moments that I connected to the NPCs because every NPC is reliving that treacherous day. And they're aware of it. They become self-aware that they're dying. And a couple of the interactions I felt. I didn't like it, I felt it. It hurt. I actually felt upset for them. Hanami, but that's based on the world of Hanami. Like the lore of Hanami was great. Like, but it wasn't explored to the extent that I wanted to. It really did feel like a bait and switch. It was like, oh, the lament, it's tearing a hole in the fabric of reality. We need to really do something about it. The Black Shores are sending a... Yeah, it really was a bait and switch, and the quest wasn't what I thought it was. The first act, for the most part, was the best part of the 2.8 sequence story. The first act was about 2.5 hours, and the second act was about an hour to an hour and a half. So all in all, about 4 hours, between 3.5 to 4 hours, like I've said. But yeah, it really just... I was disappointed, man. I was disappointed. I gave it, directly after playing it, I gave it a 7 out of 10, because I wanted to give it the benefit of the doubt. After settling down, I changed my score from a 7 to a 6. It isn't terrible. It isn't the worst thing since sliced bread. There's been worse patches, and I'd say actually this might actually be how many what other stories have there been? We didn't really get a main story for 2.3. That was the anniversary, and that was a terrible patch. 2.1 I didn't like, but it wasn't the worst thing in the world. 1.4 I didn't like, but again, the character quest for Camellia was actually pretty good. Was this my personal worst story quest? I think this might be my least favorite quest in Wuthering Waves. I'm not even joking. I think this might be my least favorite quest in Wuthering Waves. Like, main quest. I'm not even... Maybe one of the acts of 1.0. Like, one of the acts. Because I actually enjoyed the majority of 1.0. I'm in the minority here. I actually enjoyed the majority of 1.0. Was that there was 6 acts, wasn't there? I think 2 of the 6 acts in 1.0 I didn't like. But yeah, I think this might be up there. This 2.8's main story is definitely in my top 3 worst stories in Wuthering Waves. It is. It is. And like I said, it's not like I'm talking about just the story. The city's very nice. I haven't played the other events, so as a patch, I don't know if it's going to be, if it's average, if it's bad, if it's good. It's probably going to be average. It's probably going to be decent as a patch of the events. But just talking from a story point of view, yeah, it's one of my least favorite story quests. Period. Yeah, I'll stand by that. I stand by that. They have missed the mark. What I would have done, I would have had all of the action sequences the same. I would have had Chisa's backstory told the exact same way. The quest started off well. The quest actually ended pretty well. But as I said, you could have had one act. You could have cut out 80% of the second act of the patch and just put it in the first act and had it as like a 3-hour story instead of like a 2 to 2.5 hour story of the first act. You didn't need the second act at all. You didn't. You just didn't. It was blatant filler, and it wasn't good filler in my opinion. There was good elements, but overall it wasn't good. But yeah. I would have had a little bit more action. The Fractidus were here running tests. Nothing happened. Genuinely, nothing happened. The Fractidus goons turn up. I'm thinking, oh, maybe we actually might get a little bit something. Maybe we'll actually see an overseer, or we'll actually have some new character basically arrive. Maybe they're the reason why this lament was caused. No. They even mention the cherry on top. They even mention that the reason why this is happening is because someone could be causing it, or something like another force is causing it. They never explore that, by the way. So they could have even had an NPC Fractidus member go, "Oh, we've been sent here by General Scar. We've been sent here by Cristoforo. The architect told us to come here." We could have had something. Just to say, okay, they want to know something. They want something from Hanami City. They're causing this lament for some reason, but it's just not good. It's just not good, and it's upsetting, disappointing. Yeah, but yeah, that's gonna conclude all of it. As I just said, 6 out of 10. If I'm in a good mood, 6.5. But it's no higher than a 6.5 out of 10. It's one of the worst stories in Wuthering Waves, in my opinion. Genuinely, one of the worst stories in Wuthering Waves. And all of the stories aren't the worst in the world. Like even the bad acts of 1.0, I enjoyed to an extent. I just think they're the worst acts. But this is like this is definitely the worst story patch of 2.1, I think 2.1 is in my top 3. I didn't enjoy 2.1 story about the fisherman and the Leviathan and everything like that. I didn't actually enjoy that too much. because there was two stories. There was the Alvarado Vault with Phoebe, which I thought was okay. I actually thought was pretty decent, but overall just average. That was more just like an internal criminal affair job with Zani and Phoebe. I didn't hate it. We had the fisherman and the whale and the quest where you go into like a you Bran, Phoebe, and you travel the seas and discover mysteries. That was okay, but overall that wasn't amazing. This was probably worse than that. Yeah, I'd say it's probably my least favorite. Yeah, it's my least favorite. But yeah, I know. My least favorite quest. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'll speak to you all in the next video. If you enjoyed my review, hit that like, comment, and subscribe. If I get people calling this a 10 out of 10, a 9 out of 10, come on. You just can't. Come on. If you can say there's good moments, you can say there was good moments in the patch. I will tell you there was good moments in the patch. I acknowledge there was good moments in the patch. But an hour to an hour and a half out of 4 hours being good and the rest of it being boring and just bland and lackluster and average at best wasn't a good story patch. It wasn't. I didn't enjoy this patch story-wise through and through. And obviously I play the story very differently to a lot of people. A lot of people just react. I voice act the in-betweens for Rover, which I guess adds to immersion for me personally. So when I'm playing it, oh, but you look like you were enjoying it. Yeah, because I was immersed. Because I was immersing myself within the story by voice acting and by being in it. I'm a voice actor. I wanted to do it. That's what I started doing from 1.3. Is what I'm going to continue to do. It's what I enjoy doing. It's how I enjoy the Wuthering Waves stories the most. Do you understand? Do you get? Hopefully you guys understand. So it added a little bit more to me because I was voicing Rover's dialogue when he wasn't speaking, filling in the blanks as Rover's voice. So yeah, I myself added an extra half a grade or two, half a grade or a full grade, which is probably the reason why I gave it a 7, because one of those gradings that put it to a 6 to a 7 was probably me immersing myself in getting caught up with being the character of Rover. That doesn't, but yeah, it just overall it just wasn't good. But anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll speak to you in the next one. Take it easy and have a good rest of your day.